Melanie, what do you mean when you say that many coaches and consultants are suffering from the problem of being the best kept secret?
Well, I think a lot of consultants, coaches, even service providers, anybody who has a business where you want to keep attracting clients, one of the things is I like to think of it like they are hosting a party and they have had a couple of guests and they're waiting for those guests to bring all the friends. That's referrals. And when they don't bring the friends, they kind of have an empty party. That's what being a best kept secret is like. And that's because I think a lot of people, they know they're going to have a few good clients. They get those clients in the pipeline, and then they don't have a way to be seen, to be recognized, and to be chosen unless a referral comes in the door. And I know this because when I started my business in 2000, that's exactly the trap I was in. I was completely built around having referrals from people who knew me, who could recommend my work, and they weren't coming fast enough, so I couldn't grow at the pace that I wanted. And I think a lot of people, they no, I think I should do something about this, right, Ken? It's like I think I should have some kind of marketing, but as we were talking about in the green room, that's not really this community's forte. It's not really where their superpowers ignite. It's not really what they want to be spending their time doing. So it's kind of they just default into that best kept secret syndrome.
Melanie, that's such a great way to start this episode. Hello and welcome to the Seven Figure Life Fulfillment Podcast, where we share strategies to help coaches and consultants build life affirming, seven figure businesses filled with passion and purpose. I'm your host, Ken Stephen, and my guest today is Melanie Benson. Melanie is an author, host of a top rated podcast, and go to authority amplifier for expertpreneurs who are ready to become unignorable. I love that term, unignorable. With over 2 decades of experience helping experts and visionary leaders break out of the best kept secret mode, Melanie specializes in turning overlooked brilliance into profitable visibility with high value clients ready to say yes. Melanie, I love what you do. Thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm really excited to create some new clarity for our community today.
Well, I love this whole idea of being unignorable. Tell us a little bit more about that. Let's talk a bit more about how do you become unignorable?
Well, I think there's a couple pieces to it. And I think first of all, the we have to start with a decision that we need to be seen. We need to have visibility in order to be attracting people into our programs, our offers, our consulting, whatever our work product is. And interestingly enough, and I'm sure you've seen this, there's a lot of people who don't really want to be seen. They just want the clients to come in. So first of all, we got to make the decision. I am willing to get seen on a bigger level. And this unignorable thing came from a place of recognizing in my own business, and especially in the early days, that frustration of feeling like I was being overlooked. I was talented, I was trained, I was certified, not just as a coach, but also in multiple disciplines like neurolinguistic programming. I had a almost 20-year career in corporate America. And I'm like, why am I being overlooked for these flashier, more visible colleagues of mine who I knew didn't have the same training or track record? And what came out of that was realizing that there were three key things that they were missing. And first thing they were missing is they were not being recognized because they weren't being clear.
Hmm.
There wasn't clarity about what they could do for somebody who needed them. And that clarity was the messaging. So I'm sure as you're listening in and Ken, you're shaking your head, just like we know how many people struggle with clearly communicating the value of the work they do. I call it having a lighthouse message. Your lighthouse shines bright. It cuts through the darkness. It creates this kind of tractor beam effect where people who resonate with your message feel called to what you do, just like you and I were talking about, like that unignorable word really pulls people in.
Hmm.
And I think that's what's missing for a lot of people is they don't really have a message that conveys why me and why me now. So let's assume for a minute, Ken, that people have that message dialed in and they're like, I still am not visible. I'm still being overlooked. I'm still being passed over. I'm not getting the speaking opportunities. I'm not getting invitations to be on podcasts. I'm not even getting clients or referrals. So the second piece is they're not consistently visible where their ideal clients are looking for them. And that's where the visibility comes in. Now, you and I were talking about social media. For some people, that's social media. For other people, that might be creating opportunities to be seen. And that's where the third component comes in. And that's what I call the authority trifecta.
Ah,
And the authority trifecta is creating a bit of a visibility advantage where your audience, your colleagues, your the people in your community, they recognize why you, because you have said or you have focused on creating clarity and positioning your authority, your expertise, your unique advantages in the marketplace over other people who may be more recognized. And there are three ways we do that. You want me to drop in and do them, or you want I'm gonna check in with you and see if you have something you want to add to that before I move
you're
on?
doing great. Just keep going because that's the next thing I was going to ask you, saying, well, hey, go ahead. Yeah,
All
absolutely.
right, I'm on a roll. So, authority trifecta is something that I recognized from my own journey. You know, when I started, I was coming out of corporate America, and maybe you, as you're listening in, have had a similar path. And when I was in corporate America, guess what? Everything was handled for me. I just shut up and I did my work. And when I came out on my own, I realized, it doesn't work that way. I'm in charge. I have to figure all this out. So I had my coach training, I had my background, I had my master's degree, right? All the things, but that was not helping me be strategic. That was not helping me learn what to do in what order to be able to not just attract clients, but to get paid well in the process. As a matter of fact, funny aside, Ken, when I went through coach training, the big training on how to create the right business model was sell 3 hours of your time every month for $350 a month. Well, let's do the math. I live in LA. How many people do you have to meet with to be able to have a good living, right? That's way too many people. I did not want to have to work like that.
For sure.
So I had to really quickly discover what was going to be more effective. And I realized just because you have a great offer doesn't mean people are going to recognize why you. And so I had to figure out, how do you get known? How do you become the person that people seek out? And that's where this authority trifecta was born. And the first component of it is you need to get clear what you're known for and be visible about it. And that's where social media comes in for a lot of us, establishing your brand presence. Yes, it can attract clients, and it has done that for me and my clients, but it doesn't have to be about attracting clients. It's about creating a place where people can vet you, research you, and build trust and credibility that you can do what you're saying because there's a consistency in your brand message and your value that you're bringing to the world. So that's my big selling point on social media, is to pick a place where you want to be recognized and you can actually be vetted and witnessed as somebody who is trustworthy and credible in your work in the world.
Mhm.
So that's pillar number one. Pillar number two is now we got to build an audience. And my favorite way to do that is to build an audience by being a guest expert, to book guest appearances, to get in front of other people's platforms, get in front of other people's audiences. And this is a huge win-win-win. A lot of people are like, well, you know, this feels like a lot of work. Maybe it doesn't really, like, who would want to book me, especially like if somebody's my competitor, why would they book me on their show, right? This is actually one of the most powerful parts of being known, is you have to have a way to get known in front of new communities. Now, Ken, I don't know if you found yourself doing this, but I used to spend a lot of time traveling all over the world, speaking on other people's stages. And I got to the point where I'm like, I don't want to be on airplanes all the time anymore. I like my house. I like my community. I love my dogs. I love my family. I don't want to be on the road. I didn't want to be a road warrior. And so podcasts and doing amazing video conversations like this is a really, really powerful opportunity to collaborate and co-create awareness of your lighthouse message and attract people into your work in the world. So that's pillar number two. And real quick, we won't have time to get into this one, but pillar number three is to create your own authority platform. And it can be anything from a book to your own podcast to you can be hosting your own events, your own summits. There's a lot of different ways to do that. But when you have all three of those components together, you start to create this mechanism that is constantly spiraling your expertise, what you are recognized for as brilliance and superpower, and it starts to up level people's ability to see you and recognize why to choose you when they're ready to solve their problems.
Oh, that sounds good. Trifecta. I love this. Um, let's go back to social media for a second. Okay. So you say pillar number one, social media. And you were saying, okay, pick a platform where you can start to build some know, like, and trust. Okay. What platforms would you find, in your experience, are the best for coaches and consultants to consider?
Well, that's a great question. And I always say we want to take what you do, but also who's your audience.
Mhm.
So if you're more corporate focused or you're more B2B, I think LinkedIn is a no-brainer. Most of my clients who are in any kind of consulting, business coaching, I always recommend that they're visible and active on LinkedIn. But here's the thing with LinkedIn, you don't have to be posting every day. You actually don't have to do that. I recommend building a solid presence, and you can post once or twice a week and still get a lot of advantage. And um, fun fact, if you have your own podcast, you are actually creating built-in content to post there. It's like a no-brainer. It's like easy content to be able to, what do I post about? Post about your show. If you're guesting on other people's podcasts, again, no-brainer. You've got content you can share. But I think it's just nice to have a presence there where people can go, hey, does this person actually, have consistency in their brand? And I think also kind of being regularly consistent. There's a lot of people who are nervous about investing in service providers these days. And it gives them a sense of like, this person's here. They're not going anywhere. They've got a business that I can count on because they're solid. There's a regularity to what they do. Okay. Now you don't have to be active on social media. I just think it's really a valuable way to be vetted and to be to create that know, like, and trust factor, as you said.
Okay, oh, that's interesting. Um, you mentioned podcasts as a great platform. Okay, and I don't want to let you go the you telling us a little bit more about your podcast
Mm.
because in the green room we were talking about the fact that you've just finished episode 487 of your podcast, which is an amazing accomplishment. So I think we should tell people a little bit about your podcast and what you talk about on your podcast.
Oh, thank you. Well, my podcast is called Amplifier Success. As we're recording this, we've dropped 457, but we drop episodes every week like clockwork. So by the time our community gets to enjoy this, we'll see where we're at, right? um, and here's an interesting tie-in to what we're talking about here today. My intention to start my podcast in the beginning, as much as I love getting to know people and airing brilliant conversations with experts from all over the world, was I also knew that having an asset that could open a collaborative relationship with a peer was valuable gold in my marketplace. And if I wanted to be recognized as somebody to collaborate with, to invite to their stage or their podcast, having my own show gave me some capital to work with. And so it was very strategic in the beginning. I didn't set out to have the top 1% show on the planet. I started it as a way to interview great people, to build the know, like, and trust factor with my own community, but to create something that would be seen as a valuable act of reciprocity. So that was a big part of why I started. And today what I do is I again I made decided to make my own rules with the podcast where a lot of people are just guest focused or they're solo focused. I wanted to do whatever I felt like doing. So I didn't want to be like trapped inside some kind of a routine that wouldn't give me the freedom to do what I felt a spark to do. So I rotate through several. I primarily am the solo expert that I take all kinds of things that my clients ask me about and I create episodes on that from visibility strategy to what's changing in the marketplace to tackling some of those invisible fears and barriers that hold people back from being able to generate next level income, $1 million networks, like what are those and how do you build your own stuff like that. And then I sprinkle in some guests. So we have a series of guests throughout the year. And then I added this year, or I should say I brought back because I did this in the beginning. We have on-air coaching. So
Mhm.
my clients can qualify sometimes to be in the spotlight. And it's really profoundly powerful because people get to witness me as the coach and see, do I like that style of coaching? Does it work for me? But they're also getting valuable coaching wisdom from the brave souls who are willing to let me coach them on air. So that's been fun to bring that in this year.
Well, hey, on this topic of being coached, all right, how would someone listening right now know that maybe they would benefit from being coached? What are some of the telltale signs that maybe they should be looking for a coach like you?
What a great question. I think one of the big signs, and by the way, I think there's a bit of a distinction between a coach and maybe someone who's more of a mentor or consultant. And these are my distinctions, but I really see consulting and mentoring oftentimes as more directive. It's like, hey, here's the plan, do the plan, follow this process, right? And in true coaching, this is the way I was trained to think of coaching. True coaching is about being able to ask really powerful questions to elicit your greatness,
Hmm.
to be able to unpack maybe what's in the way, but also what's possible by really like extracting your own superpower, your own wisdom. And we all have it, but sometimes the way we think about things has gotten into a certain pattern and we're not seeing opportunity because it's blocked by our paradigm that we're living in. So I like to think of integrating those two things as you get a bit of direction because here's what I know works, but also I'm going to ask you questions so you can become the best version of yourself. Now, that is one thing that you need to think about. Are you being the best version of yourself? Have you really accessed that level of capacity and capability? Or do you suspect that you may have a bit of safety zone where you're holding yourself back because you either don't know what to do next, you're afraid of, I don't want to take a risk and have it fail, or you just simply don't necessarily have clarity about what steps you want to take. And so, if you're in that spot, I think getting a coach, whether it's me or Ken or whoever it is, that is your next step. The second thing, and I think this is even more important, is to really consider, do you have the ability to take yourself where you want to go if you don't invite somebody in to help you look at your blind spots?
Blind spots, great way to put it.
Yeah. And then third is like, do you value the acceleration that can happen when you're working with somebody who has a proven track record, but also has been established in the industry for not just a couple years, but decades? And to recognize that sometimes when we invite in clarity from somebody who's been before us, you can actually speed up your path to results and make less mistakes along the way. And that could be your decision making, it can be what you're investing in, it could be your business model or your strategy for growth. I think those are three really powerful questions to ask yourself. And those are things I'll often invite people considering working with me to think about before we meet so we can decide if working together is right for us.
Well, on the topic of maybe someone considering working with you, how can people reach out and contact you if they want to get some more information?
Ooh, I love that. Well, first of all, you're welcome to come to my website, melaniebenson.com. I'm active on all the socials except TikTok. Not really active there. That's not my favorite place. But I have a resource that I think could be really, really powerful to start. It's totally free. I'm offering as my gift today. And what I did is I kept getting people asking me, like, what are all the pieces I need to put in place so that I can stand out and not be a best kept secret? So I created a 7-step framework to becoming an unignorable expert. So you get chosen. So you are the person that people go to for the solution that's your superpower. And if you go to melaniebenson.com/, oops,
Fulfillment.
sorry, hold on. What did I make it? I made, oh, fulfillment. Sorry. I had it right in front of me. There's gone. melaniebenson.com/fulfillment. We made it so that it's part of the podcast name to help you remember it. You can download that as my free gift to you. And Ken, thank you so much for curating such an extraordinary conversation. And I love the curiosity that you bring to your show and the guests that you highlight here.
Yeah, well, Melanie, listen, I want to thank you for your insights today. I'm definitely going to be sharing all those links in the show notes below so that everyone will know how to, especially to get that free gift of yours. I might actually download that myself. It sounds very, very interesting.
Yeah, enjoy. And there's a little scorecard that goes with it
Oh,
just so you
scorecard.
can get a little clarity. It's like, so how am I stacking up here and where is some of my blind spots and room for improvement?
Oh,
So
I'm
it's kind of a
sold that.
fun thing to do.
I'm definitely gonna download that, and everyone else should do
Okay.
that too. Okay. Melanie, again, I want to thank you for all your insights today, for being so generous with your time. For everyone else who's listening today, if you got benefit of what Melanie was talking about today, please share this episode with your friends too, so that they can gain benefit. And stay tuned, everyone, for the next episode of the Seven Figure Life Fulfillment Podcast. And Melanie, thanks again for being such a great guest.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.